Hi. Sorry that I look like this. I got my hair cut today and it was blow dried and I'm adjusting. Okay, I'm adjusting. But today is Tuesday, September 24th. And that means I have exactly 7 days, including today, to finish my September TBR. I'm genuinely really unsure if I'll be able to do it because this is honestly a pretty hefty stack of books to get through. There's only one like quick read. These 3 specifically are gonna be a lot harder to get through. They're not like fly through type books, I don't think, but I'm gonna try my best. Okay, I'm gonna try my best. We're gonna see what happens. I'm just very excited because this is a good spread. I am trying to prioritize books for my 24 and 2024 list for the end of the year, and 2 of these are on it. So really quickly, let me just give you a run through of the books we're gonna be trying to cover in the next 7 days. First of all, we've got A Not So Meet Cute by Meghan Quinn, which is a billionaire rom-com to my understanding, and that's really all I know about it. We have The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, which is a historical fiction, sisters taking on World War II vibes. V.E. Schwab's A Darker Shade of Magic on my 24 and 2024 list. Something to do with parallel universes, magic, magicians. That's all I've got. And then Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, which is actually what I'm going to be starting with. If you're unfamiliar, this is a new adult fantasy novel that follows, I think, a 20-year-old girl who goes to a war college intending to be in the scribe quadrant, and then her mom, who's like a leader of some kind, forces her into the dragon riders quadrant. I'm sure there's an actual term for it. I don't know, but that is the extent of what I know about this. I know there is a romance subplot that people eat up, and I know this is a 5-star read for a lot of people. I'm gonna be honest, my expectations are lower, which is good because that means I can only be surprised and impressed if I end up really liking this. But I feel like I've just heard so many people compare it to Divergent, which makes me a little bit nervous because Divergent wasn't like my favorite of the YA dystopia genre when it was at the peak of its craze. So I'm a little bit nervous, but I also am very excited because I haven't actually read a dragon-based fantasy and people seem to really, really love it. So I'm excited, but I'm nervous, and I'm happy because this 500-something page novel is on Kindle Unlimited. So I will be reading it on my Kindle and I'm very excited and I can't wait to get started. So yeah, let's see if I can get through all these books in 7 days. Okay, starting off with I'm so fucked. Absolutely. Wait, why am I so caught off guard that there's cursing in this? Like, I'm eating it up, but I had no idea. Like, I guess I really thought up until I really thought about the fact that she's 20, that this was young adult. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by this development. The writer's quadrant. The writer's quadrant is the dragon quadrant. That makes sense. Hey, I know that it looks probably like the same night, or like I haven't really moved because I'm wearing the same pajama shirt and it's nighttime, but it is indeed the next day. And I just wanted to update really quick and let y'all know that I am really enjoying Fourth Wing. I'm really enjoying it. Like, was I a little put off at the beginning by like oh, she's so small and so frail. She has to be a dragon rider, but she probably won't survive. And she has to stay away from the son of the rebellion leader. But oh my gosh, he is the single most attractive person she's ever seen. Like, that part in the beginning, I was like, okay, I don't know, but unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I am really locked in now. I need to figure out where I'm at. Last time I was on my Kindle, I was on page 150, but then I listened to the audiobook on my way home, and that's really how you know that I'm in a story. If I had time to read at work, and so I was reading while I was like uploading some files and stuff, and then it came time to go home, and I didn't want to stop reading, so I started listening to the audiobook, and that's just how you know. I think I'm on like chapter 11 at this point, which I think is probably somewhere like in like the 180 range, but I'm really enjoying it. Let me set you down and I'll give you a little bit of like an updated plot summary because I feel like I really didn't yesterday. Basically, Fourth Wing follows Violet Sorengale, who is the daughter of, mother is like the general of the army that's like protecting their nation, country, continent. I don't know. The world building is not 100% clear to me, but basically the long and short of it is the place that Violet is from has been at war with like its neighboring, let's let's say, country for a really, really long time. And so when individuals get to a certain age, they're expected to go to the war college and then pick a path like to specialize in something. So there's like healers, there's scribes, there's dragon riders, there's just like the general army. And then all of them ultimately end up being part of like the war efforts in some capacity. And Violet is a very weak and frail girl because when her mom was pregnant with her, she got a flu or a virus or something like that. And so Violet has been weak, like is weak and has been weak since she was a baby. But her mom is dead set on her becoming a dragon rider. So basically in this quadrant, in the writer's quadrant, not only do you have to survive a lot of trials that basically are designed to weed out the weakest individuals that like don't have physical strength to be dragon riders, but she also has to endure like classmates trying to eliminate her because she's the weakest link. She has to prove herself basically in this situation, and honestly, I'm eating it up. I'm really eating it up. They've been going through like little challenges, like she had to do some sparring, she had to pass this like obstacle course, which is up to where I'm at now, and I just really enjoy things like that. I like when it's something that feels Hunger Games. I will say the elements of romance in this feel a bit, not that they feel like tired, but it's definitely, you know, we got a bit of a love triangle going on first and foremost, and we also have one love interest that's like safe and one love interest that is like asshole with a hidden heart of gold. So and when asshole with a hidden heart of gold is introduced, it's a lot. Like he is the most beautiful man that she's ever seen, okay? So yeah, that part is just funny. Those are the parts I am getting a little bit tripped up on, just in terms of like enjoyment level. Like sometimes it just takes me out a little bit because it does feel a bit kind of formulaic in the sense of like the critique of the romantasy genre, but ultimately I am really enjoying myself. Like really enjoying myself. I can appreciate the writing in this for what it is, and like honestly like the story for like what it's accomplishing, in the sense that I am just having a great time. I'm having a really good time. We haven't even really been introduced to the dragons yet. Like I've heard people say that the dragons in this have personalities, so I'm excited to get to that point in the story because we're just not there yet. So anyways, just wanted to give an update. I'm about 28% of the way through according to my Kindle. So I'm about a third of the way through almost, and I still have 6 days left, but I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried about the pace. So I'm going to stay up and read tonight. I'm hoping to at least get to 50%. And honestly, I probably will because I'm having such a good time. I do unfortunately have to wake up early and film some in the morning. Like in my dream world, I would finish this tomorrow. Like I don't want to rush it, but through the rest of the books on my September TBR, I do have to pick up the pace a bit. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna do some reading and I will update you when I've made some progress. Hopefully from a different angle in a different shirt. I'm finally filming an update for this video when there's still light outside. What a concept. But it is Thursday today. Thursday, September 26th. And I have been doing my best. Like I've literally been reading in every second of free time that I have. Like I've been reading at work. I've been reading before bed. I stayed up until 12:30 last night, and I'm pretty sure the night before, reading because I was having so much fun. I'm also listening to the audiobook. That's actually where I just stopped. I am currently over halfway through chapter 28 is where I left off. So I'm about 69% of the way through the book according to Spotify. And I have to say, I was definitely super locked in, really invested in the story. Like when I was updating when we were getting close to the dragons, like up to that point, I was really locked in, having a really good time. I feel like it's kind of dragging a bit at the moment where I am right now. I will say, is this like an exceptional, incredible piece of literature? No, like I don't think I would recommend this to anyone that is super into like high fantasy, excellent world building, all that kind of stuff. But if you are looking for something to scratch the itch of like a bingeable romantasy, like I don't know, it's so interesting because I've just been trying to figure out how I feel. I don't know if there's like a 5-star feeling in there, but I'm definitely locked in. I just have felt for the last couple chapters that it's been dragging a little bit. Basically, they took a little detour, like a little side mission. So a little bit random. Like I know we were doing some like character development stuff, I guess, but obviously being 69% of the way through, I'm about to get to the parts of the book where things get really, really crazy. So very intrigued to see where we go from here. I'm hoping things pick up a little bit. As you can see last night, I am loving the dragons. Loving the dragons, was really, really excited when they got introduced. It was everything I wanted it to be. I was having a great time. Also, really eating up the romance. I will say right now, it's kind of grating on me just a little bit, like just a little bit. I think because this book feels longer than I thought it was gonna feel. And I'm excited for when it picks back up. I have no idea where I'm gonna land on a rating, but genuinely right now, it feels like it will be at least 4 stars. Like that's how much of a good time I'm having. So About to go to dinner with some friends, but then I will probably get back to reading when I get home. So I'm gonna see if I can finish tonight, because if I could start book 2, this challenge tomorrow, Friday, that would be ideal. So we'll see, and I will let you know when I have something else to say. Okay. I have a lot of updates. A lot has transpired. Transpired? Why did I say it like that? A lot has transpired since the last time I talked to you. By the way, today's Saturday. I don't think I talked to you at all yesterday, but today is Saturday, September 28th. So we have 3 days left and one book is completely complete. I'm glad that I gave myself like a day to really sit with how I wanted to rate this, because this was a very interesting experience in that I had a blast for the most part while I was reading it. I'm pretty sure I said this. I'm pretty sure the last time I updated you guys was when I was like at like 60 something percent, like early 70s. And if I'm being honest, I feel like it lost me a little bit from 60% on. Not completely, but a little bit. And I think after doing some thinking for a couple days, I do think it's because, in my opinion, it became a bit too heavy-handed with the romance. Like, it felt like the romance became the forefront rather than the subplot, if that makes sense. Because as you could clearly tell, we were in the action and we were with the dragons and whatnot. I was having a great time. I think this premise was just so much fun that I really did fly through it. And like, I was reading this in all of my free time, like genuinely all of it. I think just towards the end, it became a little bit too melodramatic for me, which is just so funny because clearly like this is a romantasy book. Like, I should have expected that. I read afterwards and was reminded, which I knew this at some point. I don't know how I forgot, but I remembered people saying Rebecca Yarros said she wrote this as like a fantasy book for romance readers, as like a gateway into the genre. So a lot of like my issues, I feel like with this book kind of come back to that. So then I just kind of have to, I just feel like I can then like rate it on a less harsh scale, I guess, because I did have some issues with the world building. I did feel like occasionally she was taking the easy way out, kind of making, like, saying lazy decisions feels kind of harsh. I don't know. I just feel like there were a lot of opportunities to do really cool things and really like expand the world, explore our characters more. And in a lot of ways, the world and the characters sort of felt like a little too tropey, a little too close to things I'd seen in other things when I thought about it like long and hard after, as to why I wasn't like obsessed at the very end of the day, you know, like at the very end. So all that being said though, I did eat it up. Like, I flew through it, was so much more engaged than I was with like the last couple fantasy books I've read. So I have to give credit where credit's due in terms of just being able to like really entertain me and keep me entertained, even though again, it was lagging a little bit in the very last like third. I still have to give credit to the rest of the book because I was invested. I can't lie and say I wasn't, because I was. So still deciding. I know, like I said, I feel as though it has to be above 4 stars just because of how much fun I had and the fact that I do want to read the second book. Though I will say something happens at the end of this that I may or may not have suspected was gonna happen. Like, it was like a subconscious thing. Not that it makes me not want to pick up the next book. It just, again, is something that feels a little familiar and it kind of dimmed my excitement because it feels a little like something. I don't know. Ultimately, a great time. We'll be continuing the series. Very curious to see if I feel like the story and like the choices get stronger in book 2. I know a lot of people like it less, but I wonder if I will like it. All that being said, I think I'm somewhere between 4 and 4.25. Early on in the book, I was like, is this gonna be a 5-star? That is so crazy. Honestly, the more I sit with it and the more I like take an analytical eye to it, which I don't love that I'm doing because again, like, I did have such a good time, but the more I think about it, the more things I think about that I'm not the biggest fan of. So I personally enjoyed this. I can see why people do not. It's so funny to me that Xaden is so Reese from Akatar coded. I saw Brooke Averick of Brooke and Connor Make a Podcast. She read this shortly after she finished her Akatar binge and she literally said she wished she hadn't read them so close together because Xaden felt like discount Resand, and they are different in some facets, but they definitely have a lot of similarities. I really think I've noticed for me a lot of times when I start pulling away from the love interest is when they get way too simpy for my liking. I think that says more about me and the book and the character. So then yesterday I started A Not So Meet Cute by Meghan Quinn. I think I read 70 pages. There's art that's really cute actually. And I actually decided that I'm going to DNF this. Genuinely, if I had wanted to read this, I read those 70 pages so fast I truly could have finished this yesterday. I just think, I fear I was really getting cringed out like every page. Long story short, I have 2 more books on my monthly TBR that I would so much rather be getting to because I just feel like they have potential to be really high ratings for me. And I didn't want want to push myself to do this just because it was on my monthly CBR. So I DNF'd her. We'll be introducing her to the Little Free Library ecosystem shortly. So technically book number 2 is done. She's just a DNF. So. And then last night I went to the movies, and then when I got home I started A Darker Shade of Magic. I wanted to start Nightingale and I almost did, but this is shorter. This is 400 pages, I think, basically, exactly like 406, something like that. And the Nightingale is more like 600 something, and given that I have today, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to finish 2 whole books, it just made more sense to do the shorter book first. If you're unfamiliar with A Darker Shade of Magic, I still am not 100% sure on the plot because I'm only about 30 pages in, I think. But from what I know so far, we are following a man named Kel who has the ability to travel between parallel universes, like parallel Londons. And so far, from what I can tell, I think it's his job to like bring messages back and forth between the upper class, like the rulers in each place. The different Londons are, he categorizes them by like color based on like their nature. So like Grey London, he considers Grey London because it's magicless. Red London is like where he's from, and it's very magical, very lively, very rich, and like a strong place. And then White London is being drained of magic. So he travels between the Londons, and I am sure he has more responsibilities than just bringing messages back and forth, but that's really all we know so far in terms of where I'm at. So once I have more of a sense of like where the plot is going, I will let you know. But V.E. Schwab's writing is just so good. Like it's one of those things where I do have to concentrate because we are doing world building, and her writing is like not even like that it's lyrical, but it feels like very much like a fairy tale. Like it feels like I'm being immersed in a new world, and because I know it's like London, it feels very British and it feels very like, you know. I'm way too early on to know how I'm really feeling, but I'm excited. I'm really excited about this one, and I love that it's on Kindle Unlimited. So I was reading on my Kindle last night, and there is the free audiobook on Spotify. So I will be bouncing around. I think I'm gonna try and sit down and read some of this today, and then hopefully I will have some more thoughts to give you tomorrow. We're gonna see if I can finish it tomorrow. I don't know if that's gonna be possible, but I would really, really like to. So we're on book number 3. I don't know if book number 4, which is behind me on the bedside table, is going to be realistic because again, it is really long, but I'm hoping I can at least start it and then maybe just finish it early next month, early October. I don't know, but anyways, just wanted to give an update on the progress. We are books deep. I'm so sorry to a not so meet cute, just was not in the mood, and also it's just not to my taste, I think. I'm gonna read some more of this today, and I'll talk to you when there's more to say. Okay. I'm so tired. I'm powering through, okay? I'm powering through. Good morning, everyone. Today is September 30th, which means it is the last day for me to attempt reading my September TBR. Just as a little check-in, I still have 2 whole books basically because I haven't touched The Nightingale, and I fell asleep again last night, and I only read like 15 more pages, so I'm only 18% of the way through Darker Shade of Magic. So I'm going to try and read this whole thing today. I think what's hard is like the plot hasn't really even started yet. Like we're still doing a lot of world building, which is necessary because there's a bunch of Londons. Okay, we're getting the groundwork. We're learning a few basic characters in the groundwork, but that's all we've gotten so far. So I think once it picks up, I will be able to read it a lot faster. But I'm not going to distract you with this terrible hand filming for much longer. I'm going to go for a walk. I have about like 30 minutes to walk before I have to head out for work. So I'm going to listen to the audiobook and then try and update you throughout the day, and we'll see how close I can get to finishing this by midnight tonight. We'll see. Okay. Hi, I'm now 49% of the way through. I'm on part 8, an arrangement, and I wanted to pop in while I'm on a quick little break from work and give an update because I realized that I have really never known what, like, the plot of this book or larger series is genuinely at all. The extent of what I've known is what I said, which is like the multiple Londons thing. So now that I'm further along and like the plot is really about to unfold, and genuinely, like I say, we've only just now gotten to the point of where it's really gonna get underway right now. Genuinely, I mean it. Like they're literally about to take up the call to action for the journey right this second. So that's where we're at. I'm not gonna go into crazy detail because I don't want to get into like spoiler territory or anything, but I just feel like I'm so intrigued by the way the plot has unfolded. I feel like I should tell you. So basically, our main character, Kel, he is a unique individual in the sense that he has magic. He has magic in his blood. He is a very rare type of person. There's only one other person like him that still exists, and the two of them share in the job of taking messages from world to world because these two individuals, Kel and Holland, have the ability of traveling between worlds. so they can open doors between the 4 known worlds, and where all these worlds intersect is actually London. Every single world, regardless of how different they are in the larger sense, they have a London, and that's where they overlap. So the 4 different Londons are red, white, gray, and black. Black has been walled off because they succumbed to black magic a long time ago, and so nobody goes there any longer. Hell works the royal family in red London, Holland works the royal family in white London, and there's really not magic in gray London. But basically, the plot itself starts when Kel stumbles upon, or is given, I guess, an artifact that is distinctly of the black London variety, and he kind of comes to the realization that it's too powerful and he needs to get rid of it, but the only way he can get rid of it is by returning it to black London. So he's gonna have to go on this journey, and there is another character involved as well. Her name is Lila Bard, and it seems like they're going to go on this journey together. So that's as much detail as I'll go into, but I'm actually really enjoying it, and I really like this setup, and I like where we're going. I will say the fact that there are royal families, and it's like there's kings and queens and magicians, and it's like cobblestone Londons, and there's not really anything modern about any of them. It feels a lot more like a Regency era fantasy than I thought it was going to, but I'm still really enjoying it. I love V.E. Schwab's writing, so I'm eating it up. I'm having a great time. I was also surprised they're younger. Hel is 21, 22, and Lila is 19. This whole time I thought this was like gonna be a series about older magician. No, Kel is actually in his early 20s. He's actually younger than me. So it's interesting because like I feel like Lila is very easily characterized in my mind. Like she reads like a younger girl, like she reads like a 19-year-old. But Kel, maybe because I've been listening to a lot of it on audiobook and the narrator is obviously an older gentleman, that's kind of how I'm picturing him, but I'm having to like remind myself that he's younger, and I'll be interested to see if like I get a better handle on his character the more I read and like the further into the series I get, because right now he feels like I kind of can't put my finger on like his characterization yet, you know? So I'll be interested to see how it plays out, but I just wanted to give a little update. I think I'll have some time to read a little bit more today at work, and then I'm gonna really hunker down when I get home tonight, and I'm going to finish this book. I'm going to check off one more book off the September TBR, whether future me likes that or not. I'm not letting myself lay in bed and fall asleep tonight. I will be finishing it. If I don't, this is really humiliating. So anyways, that's all I have to say for right now. I am gonna head back to the office, and then I will update you when I have updates. Talk to you later. Hey, cute little stories at the end. I thought it was an epilogue, but it's a little story of how Hal met his brother for the first time. There's like 3. I was so confused because I got to the appendix on page like 380 something, but there's little stories at the end. Finished. And with time to spare. Hey, happy October 1st. I finished Darker Shade of Magic last night. We didn't make it. It was really ambitious to go for 4 books in 1 week when I usually read on average 1 to 2. But we tried, okay? I tried. I'm really sad that every month that I've had a Kristen Hanna book on my TBR, I left it to the end and then I don't get to it. And I didn't even put this on my cart to repick for October because I thought I was gonna finish it before the month ended. So that's on me. I want to read a Kristen Hanna book so bad. I am feeling a little conflicted on starting with The Nightingale just because All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr is also a World War II story, and that one's on my 24 and 2024 list, so I don't know when I'm gonna get to her. I wish it had been this month because the more opportunities I have to put it off, the more I will, because I'm annoying like that. So unfortunately we did fail. She prevented us from winning, but that's okay because I did get to 3 books. I didn't finish 3 books, but I got to them, okay? Really quickly, I don't have very many thoughts on this. Long story short, I really enjoyed this. I said earlier on, I felt like once we got the world building done, I'd be able to fly through it, and that was really true. Once like the plot really picked up, I was reading so quickly, and I finished it so much faster than I even thought I would. It was really fun. I will say I had the same issue when I read Addie LaRue, where I just can't quite connect to the characters. They just feel a little bit flat, a little bit like indecipherable. Lila, like I said, reads so much easier than Kel. Kel, I still don't really know who he is. And I had that issue with the love interest in Addie LaRue, which is also by V.E. Schwab. So very interesting. I'm curious to see if in something like this, where it is a series and we're gonna end up spending 3 books with these characters, if he's gonna become more tangible to me as we move forward, but I'm really not sure. I will say I think the world is super interesting. I'm impressed with like the history that she built and like the vibe she curated exaggerated, but I don't think that this is like my favorite fantasy experience in the whole world, like not my favorite setting. And I also am curious to see where we're gonna go from here, because at the present moment it doesn't feel like there's like a big overarching thing that's driving us. I'm sure it'll come to light later on, but yeah, overall I enjoyed myself, but this is not like a new favorite or anything. But as always, loved V.E. Schwab's writing. I just want a little more from the characters. That's basically what it boils down to. So I'm between 3.5 and 4 stars because I did end up really enjoying myself, but it did take me a while to get into, and like I said, I'm not like crazy obsessed with like the culmination of elements, so I feel like maybe 3.5, but I really feel like books 2 and 3 could be so much better for me, you know? Like I really think I'm gonna like them so much more because it does get so addictive and fast-paced like the further into it you get, and something about her writing is just like very easy and smooth, and it flows really well once you get beyond the figuring out what's going on and like actually getting into the story. So I think I'm gonna go 3.5. If this changes in my monthly wrap-up in a couple days, oh well. But yeah, really glad I got to this because I have been curious to see what V.E. Schwab's writing is like in another book. I know people love the Vicious duology more than this series, so I'm gonna get to her soon as well too. But I do have to do this first, so I started it. Yeah. And then just to recap the other two, DNF'd and Not So Meet Cute. I realized I didn't say this. I was watching back the footage. This is a very spicy book. This is a very spicy book. It's kind of like its whole thing. It's a billionaire romance where he's like an alpha male and they're doing each other favors, and she like moves in with him while they're pretending to be fake fiancés, and obviously that escalates because they're under the same roof, and he's also low-key kind of obsessed with sex and like an alpha male. I don't know, just really wasn't my thing. I like skimmed, and there's a lot of spice, which, hey, I don't mind spice, but it felt like its purpose was the spice. Do you know what I mean? And that's not usually what I look for in romance books. So DNF'd her. And then Fourth Wing, I still have the exact same feelings that I had the last time I talked about this, where I had a great time, but there are a bunch of things that I could pick apart about it. But that doesn't mean I didn't have a good time, and that doesn't mean that I won't be reading the next book in the series. So I'm really glad that I got to this. I'm curious to start the second book. So 4 stars I've decided, because I'm too indecisive about all the elements that kind of were off-putting to me to give it 4.25, I think. So we're going 4 stars. And that's that. Okay, I've talked too much in this video. That's gonna be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I promise one of these days I actually am gonna finish my whole monthly TBR instead of just saying I'm going to and then failing in the 11th hour. So anyways, that's gonna be it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.